Hi and welcome back to the course. In this video, we would like to implement the put endpoint. But unfortunately, there is something that we have to do before we can do that. Notice how the put endpoint also has a line items.append, because this used to append a new item to the items list or update an item if it was already there. So there is an items.append here, but we don't have a way to add an item to the database right now. We do have a post method, and the post method does create an item and put it in the database. However, there is no way for the put method to call the post method unless it also wants to do things like return the item and the status code and check that the item is already there. So what we're going to do is we're going to, once again, extract this here into a separate method. Extract the insertion of items onto a separate method. Okay, so I'm going to cut that out and then create another class method, which I'm going to call insert. And it's going to take in an item, actually, not a name. Okay? So the item that it takes in is then used to get a name and a price, and then that's inserted into the database. The way we call this is by doing self.insert item. And the item is this piece of JSON here, this dictionary there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, do remember that there might be a problem. The database may fail to insert the item, for example. And if that does happen, there is a specific construct that Python has that is to deal with exceptions. An exception is what Python runs whenever an error occurs. So we can do try self.insert except exception. Actually, we don't need that. Except only, and then return message. An error occurred with 2 R's, inserting the item. Okay, so let me explain what's happening here. This really is as logical as it seems. The first thing we do is we try to do something. We try to run the self.insert method. And the except block only runs if there was an error, an exception raised. The cursor, for example, may raise an exception if it cannot insert the item into the database. The commit may raise an exception if the connection gets closed prematurely. There's a few things that could go wrong, and here all that we're doing is we're saying we're going to try to insert the item in, and if we fail for any reason, we're just going to return a message saying an error occurred. It's not something we've done before, but it makes sense to be able to do that. You can also apply this to any other part of your code. For example, up here in the get, the find by name may also fail prematurely, so you may also want to surround up with a try except block, giving an appropriate error message if it fails to find something. Sorry, not if it fails to find something, if it fails to run the search. And remember, if it fails to find something, we're already saying not found. Also something to remember, if an error occurs inserting the item, that's not the requester's fault. And it's certainly not okay. So we don't want to return 200. 200 is the default. We do not want to do that. What we want to return is 500. Internal server error. That's what that means. Okay. Internal server error. That just means something went wrong and we can't tell you exactly what, but something went wrong and it's not your fault. Okay. Do remember that it's very important you are returning 400 when something did go wrong with the request, and 500 when something didn't go wrong with the request but the server messed up. So that the user knows that they didn't do anything wrong, it's just the server that had a problem. Okay? That's everything for this video. We've covered the try except block, that's really useful in Python, and also we've extracted the insert method out, and then we are going to be able to actually write the put method in the next video. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you there.